All right, let's get right into it. We are headed to the vast frozen wilderness of Alaska, a place that's as beautiful as it is full of secrets. And this story, well, it all starts with something you never expect to see, a blank spot on a map. But this isn't just some cartographer's mistake. No, this is the start of a rabbit hole that leads to claims of a massive ancient pyramid, an energy source of unbelievable power, hidden deep, deep beneath the ice.
And that's really the question at the heart of all this, isn't it? The claim isn't just that there's some pyramid out there. We're talking about a structure that's supposedly bigger, way bigger, than the Great Pyramid of Giza. And it's buried, kept under wraps by some very serious people. I mean, it sounds like pure science fiction, but the story is actually built on some incredibly specific and honestly pretty compelling eyewitness accounts.
So, where does a story this wild even begin? Well, it doesn't start with some ancient explorer. It starts in 1989 with a U.S. Army counterintelligence officer, a guy whose entire job is to notice things that are out of place. And boy, did he find something that set him on a collision course with what might just be one of the military's best-kept secrets.
So check out how this whole thing just snowballs for our guy Doug Muckler. It starts off as simple curiosity, right? An unsurveyed patch of land in Alaska. Weird, but okay. Then boom, 3 years later, he and about 40 other soldiers are watching the news, and a report comes on saying a Chinese nuclear test just revealed a massive underground pyramid right in that same area. But here's the kicker. The next day, poof, the story is gone. The station says it never happened, all the tapes are seized. It's like a textbook cover-up. And when he tries one last time to get answers at Fort Meade, the home of the NSA, he gets shut down. Hard.
And this is the moment it gets really, really creepy. As Muchler is trying to pull up files on Alaskan archaeological sites, he's physically stopped by two guys in suits he's never seen before. And their warning is so specific it's chilling. They don't just say classified. They basically say, we know what you're looking for, and you need to stop. That implies a deliberate, active, and very heavily guarded secret.
So Muchler's story rings the alarm bell, right? But he only saw the smoke. Now we're going to talk about the people who claim they actually saw the fire. We're jumping back in time to two separate accounts from men who allege they were part of this whole secret operation. One who says he worked on the pyramid itself, and another who serviced the base from the air.
And what's so cool here is you get two totally different angles on the same secret. First, you've got Marty Johnson, the insider. He's an electrical engineer, says he was brought in to work on the actual technology of the pyramid way back in the 1950s. Then, 20 years later, you have Lee Pearson, the outsider. He describes being flown to this bizarre, heavily armed base on the surface, a place where all his plane's instruments went completely haywire, which, by the way, is a classic sign of some kind of massive electromagnetic field. Together, their stories paint this picture of a secret operation that's been running for decades.
Marty Johnson's account, which comes to us from his son, it's like something out of a movie. I mean, just imagine this journey. You're put on a bus with blacked-out windows and driven for 6 hours into the middle of nowhere. You get out at what looks like a simple concrete shed, but surprise, the shed is actually an elevator that takes you deep, deep into the earth. You walk through this sterile military facility to a steel door that is 15 feet high and a foot thick. And then that door opens into a massive cavern containing what he called the Dark Pyramid. The level of detail in this story is just incredible.
Okay, so if these stories are even remotely true, what is this thing? I mean, why would anyone go to such insane lengths to hide it? Well, the theory goes way beyond just finding an old building. It dives straight into the world of suppressed technology. The claim is that this pyramid, it's not a tomb, it's a machine, a power generator on a scale we can barely imagine.
Now, just to wrap your head around the scale here, the Great Pyramid of Giza, one of the wonders of the ancient world, is about 481 feet tall. The structure described in that news report Muchler saw was supposedly 550 feet tall. If that's true, this wouldn't just be some discovery. It would be one of the largest ancient structures ever found on the entire planet. And it's just been sitting there, right under our feet, this whole time.
So how in the world could a pyramid make electricity? Well, the theory plugs into a pretty high-concept idea from quantum physics called the zero-point field. Basically, it's the underlying energy of the universe that's humming along everywhere, all the time, even in the vacuum of space. The idea is that the pyramid's specific shape and what it's made of act like a giant tuning fork. It's supposedly built to resonate at just the right frequency to tap into that natural energy field, letting it pull almost limitless, clean power right out of thin air. And this idea actually lines up with some theories about the Great Pyramid of Giza also being a kind of power plant, which suggests this could be part of a lost global technology.
And here's where this whole crazy theory gets a supposed real-world test. The son of Marty Johnson, the engineer, claims his dad understood the tech so well that he actually built a small-scale model of it. He says his father built this little aluminum replica that could take a tiny electrical input, magnify it, and produce enough free energy to run their entire house and farm. Now that's a powerful story that suggests the physics behind this so-called dark pyramid might actually be real and replicable.
Look, eyewitness accounts and wild theories are one thing, but is there any actual physical proof? That's the question that drove the pilot Lee Pearson's son, Bruce, to take his dad's story and go searching for real evidence on the ground, right in the middle of that vast and dangerous region people call the Alaska Triangle.
So, armed with his father's detailed descriptions, Bruce Pearson actually hired a plane and flew over the area he thought it was in. And what he found is pretty interesting. He spotted patches of land that had these unnatural, squared-off corners. He found the remains of an old road that doesn't exist on any map. And most important, he found a hidden, decaying airstrip that is also completely unmapped. Now, none of these things scream pyramid, but they are really compelling signs of some kind of major, secret human activity right where the stories say it should be.
The search for this thing, it might not just be a fun adventure. It may have actually turned deadly. And that brings us to a much more recent and, frankly, very chilling mystery that's tied directly to the pyramid's alleged location. In 2020, a man went into that wilderness looking for answers, and he never came out.
This hiker, Nathan Campbell, was experienced. He was fully prepared for a 4-month trip into this exact area. He had a satellite phone and was checking in regularly for weeks. And then, just silence. A search party found his campsite completely intact. All his food, all his gear, everything was there. He was just gone. His last diary entry, "went to get water," is so mundane it makes it even more terrifying. Did he stumble upon something? Did he get too close to a secret that somebody was willing to kill to protect?
Okay, this is an absolutely incredible story. You've got mystery, conspiracy, advanced technology, even potential danger. But with any claim this big, you have to take a step back and look at it with a critical eye. We have to ask the tough questions. Who are these people? How reliable are their stories? So let's try to break down the evidence.
So let's be fair and weigh everything. On one hand, Doug Muchler is a verified military intel officer. That gives his story a lot of weight. But on the other hand, his memory of the nuke test date is off. And it's possible he's accidentally mixing up that memory with a different news story about an earthquake in Egypt that year. The stories from Johnson and Pearson are incredibly detailed and compelling, but they are secondhand, told by their sons. We don't have any physical proof from them. And the journalist who broke this story, Linda Moulton Howe, she's a legend, but even her supporters would say she sometimes approaches these things as a true believer, which can sometimes get in the way of a neutral investigation.
And really, that's where we're left. Is there a massive, ancient energy-generating pyramid hidden under the ice in Alaska, a secret so important that it's been guarded for over 70 years? Or is this a fascinating modern myth, one that's been woven together from the sincere but second-hand stories of good people, mixed with some half-remembered news reports, and the very real dangers of the Alaskan wilderness? The evidence definitely points to something strange happening out there. But what that something is, well, for now, that remains buried in the dark.